for sure. He's a tactical fighter. I think that they have game planned. I don't know how well. I'm very confident in my abilities, and I'm confident in my corner. When you talk about it being tactical, it's tactical from the opening bell. I think that from y'all perspective, if you see a boxing match, you actually see us thinking. You have the time to see us thinking. To y'all, it's tactical, but for me, it's all tactical from the opening bell.
Do you take it personal that you're a bigger underdog than Mikey Garcia was?
No, I don't. I don't take it personal.
What do you think? Why do you think you've been in this weight class your entire career?
Yeah, that's funny, right?
So why do you think odds makers think you have less of a chance than Mikey did?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. That doesn't really make sense in retrospect, but we are where we are. I think that maybe. I think maybe. I don't know. I think maybe they're looking at the best chance of the casinos making money or something.
The gentleman mentioned, Mark mentioned before, your paths and careers have crossed at all different points. You even sparred against each other at one point. What do you remember of that sparring session?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. That was 2011. And
you were a pro at that time already,
wasn't you? I was a professional, he was still an amateur. We did a total of possibly 4 rounds one day. Nothing to take from it at all.
He doesn't remember anything either.
If you don't mind me, the media and social media and everyone, they build things up big. They don't even know each other. The relationship is me and Errol. They sparred one time for 4 rounds. The relationship is Shawn's dad and Errol. He was never around Errol. They never spent any time together. They've never done anything, in tournaments. They never competed, or there was never any really interaction. He sparred with Errol one time, which was a 4-rounder. Shawn was like 17-0 at the time, and Errol was an amateur fighter. I am the guy that took Errol to Russia. I was his head coach in Russia. I took him to the Ukraine, also as a head coach in Ukraine. I was his technical coach on the 2011 World Championships in Azerbaijan. The relationship is myself and Errol. I was the guy that was with Errol when he sparred Mayweather in Las Vegas. Shawn wasn't there for any of that stuff. So media has blown it out of a proportion. They don't have each other's phone number. They never hung out. They never sat down. They never trained together. They were never in the same gym training together, anything like that.
Well, Kenny, let me ask you this then. What's the earliest that you ever thought Errol might be a potential future opponent for Shawn? I'm assuming you may have thought of that idea earlier than Shawn. Maybe these guys might lock up at some point.
No, actually, honestly, it happened when we went to England to support Errol. Shawn went because I was going to support Errol. And we went to England to watch him fight Carol Brook. And then that's when we both said, okay, we're going to be fighting this guy at some point. But before that, no. As he came along in the ranks, I saw the things he was doing, but if you understand what was going on at that time, it was all about Shawn fighting Keith Thurman, or Shawn and Danny Garcia, or Danny Garcia and Thurman, and it was all about those guys, and Errol wasn't in that conversation.
Shawn, what do you think about the fact that it looks like they might sell this thing out?
It better? Yeah, it will. It'll sell out.
And you got 2 guys who, are both very likable personalities. They haven't done anything outrageous. They haven't created this persona about them. They just been business-like fighters coming on up, and people seem to be responding. What's that say about the sport?
Listen, I mean, that's a great question, because that's my #1 goal. It didn't take me long being a professional fighter before I took the responsibility of changing the persona of a professional boxer. And we still have the bad boy image. I don't think I'm the only one that's going to change the image, but I think when you have myself, Errol Spence, guys who are likable, guys who are respectful, guys who are clean-cut, good-looking guys, gives it their all in the ring. What you want to see, everything that you want to see in the ring, we give you that, but then there's no really ruckus or anything like that outside of the ring. I think, that fights like this are going to change the world of boxing, and that's definitely big ups to Fox. They've done a tremendous job with promoting this fight. and doing what it takes to sell this fight. And the best part about it is you can sell two guys who are good guys. You don't have to sell a good guy and a bad guy. You don't have to sell two bad guys. That's the best part.
Kenny, going back to your relationship with Errol, I actually talked to him yesterday about your relationship. Here's what he told me. He's like, I don't think Kenny has done anything to help me with my amateur or professional career. It was other coaches like Manny Robles, who I worked mitts with during international competition, rather than Kenny. And there's really nothing that I learned from him. He can't tell Shawn anything that matters. What do you say to that?
I would say the same thing you would say. He's fighting Shawn, so he's got to downplay everything. He can't take himself off that plane that he was with me in Russia, and I was the head coach. He can't take himself off the plane. He was there. He can't stop the fact that I was the guy in the corner when he lost that night. I didn't make him lose.
Do you know who he was? A Russian fighter?
I didn't make him lose. They sent him to me, and I trained.
How many times have you seen Errol Spence lose?
I've seen him lose there. I also seen him lose in Azerbaijan, the World Championships, and of course, he's the only guy that been in the Olympics and lost twice. He lost twice in the same week in the Olympics. So
you've been there with you've been next to him during 4 losses.
I didn't go to the Olympics. I had the choice was to go because I was part of that team, or to work with him. He was a co-main event on HBO, and it was a no-brainer to go with him. And I understand why he would downplay something like that. No, I never said I taught Errol anything. Errol came to me like other guys do in the Nationals. When they get to an elite level, they send them to the top level coaches. So I was a level 4 clinician with USA Boxing. I was an international coach. So I had the credentials, and he was on my team. I was the head of the team. So we went to Russia. We also went to Ukraine. When he went to the World Championships, I was a technical coach for the 2011 World Championship team. And for the 2012 Olympic team, I was a technical coach. So that's how we interacted. When he came to Las Vegas, I didn't call Errol. Errol called me.
Did you arrange that Mayweather sparring session?
No, I didn't arrange that. They wanted Errol to come in and spar, but he called me. So I was the guy in that corner. You know, Manny wasn't there, and Derek James wasn't there. I was the guy in that corner.
When he was sparring Floyd?
When he was sparring Floyd.
Did he give him a black eye? Is that true?
Not a black eye, but he definitely gave him a very good, hard, rough sparring session. But, you know, to Mayweather's defense, this was the beginning of a camp. And professional fighters who've been boxing for a long time, in the beginning of the camp, first 2 weeks or so, 3 weeks, they're not giving it their all. They're pacing themselves for this 6 to 8 week camp. So it wasn't, you know, like he was where he was going to be when he got ready.
I heard he sparred with him 8 times. Were you there all 8 times or just that one time?
I don't know that he sparred with him 8 times. I was just there that one time.
Okay.
I'm not aware of him sparring with him 8 times.
Shawn, do you still feel like you're ahead of the game because you fought and then you took a week off or so and then you got back in and you're ahead of Errol in terms of that? Do you think that evens out?
We've been ahead from the start, and that's even taking Errol out of the equation. For myself, I always want to stay ahead of the game. So we've been ahead all the way up until this point, and now we're just in cruise control. You know, everything's been done. Everything's been done.
You're talking about your amateur background a little bit. You fought way bigger guys. Like a guy who's campaigning at heavyweight now, cleared out the cruiserweight division. How much does that help you in a fight against a bigger guy that a lot of people have had trouble with his size?
One thing, because you brought up Usyk, Alexander Usyk, when we fought 75 kilos, that's 165 pounds. I remember the punch. I remember the punch that I caught him with that helped me win the fight against him. And so I have seen that, envisioned that happening in this fight as well. Don't ask me what punch it was.
I mean, he's just one of a handful of bigger guys that you beat.
Yeah, he's a handful of. We tried to get Booboo in to spar with us the last week. We weren't able to make it happen. He had some personal things going on at home. I texted him the last time I finally texted him when he finally told me he couldn't come. He said, "I'm sorry, champ, I won't be able to make it." I said, "No problem." Very next message is this long page about what to do, what to look for, so on and so forth. I mean, when I tell you that I have people in my corner who have done the best that they could for me, even a guy like Booboo who has a tremendous athlete, a tremendous southpaw. We were 1-1 in the amateurs. For him to reach out to me without me asking for it, but him to give me that knowledge the best that he could because he couldn't be there for me. There's enough testament, even for me, to recognize that, man, he believes in me just like, you know, the rest of the team, you know, so just a lot of great energy going into the fight.
Like boxing fans, a lot of them like to, we all know styles make fights, but at the end of the day, a lot of boxing fans like to break things down as Shawn lost to Kell Brook lost to Errol, therefore Errol's going to beat Shawn.
Yeah.
How different is the Kell Brook that fought you versus the Kell Brook that fought Errol?
You know what? I think the Kell Brook that I fought was much more prepared to fight me. I think that he was much more healthy, and he was much more hungry at that time. I think he had been through a few things between winning the belt against me and fighting Errol Spence, some in the ring and some out of the ring, you know. So I think he just collectively was different. I think that, you know, common sense does tell you, well, if that guy beat him, then that guy should beat him because that guy beat him. But, you know, styles make fights. It's always about the moment, the opportunity, the night, and 9/28/19 is beautiful to me. It's going to be a beautiful night.
You remember the decision that you talked about fighting 165 in the amateur? The decision you both made to fight lighter as a pro. I mean, where do you think you would be now if you were 165 pounds?
If I stayed up there, I mean, the team believes that, you know, I can do things at 154, could do things at 160, but, you know, we changed my body. We made the move to 147. That's where we're at. I think, you know, at 154 I would be a champion. I think at 160 I would be a champion if not contending. I think my career has been great at 147. Obviously it's hindsight, but I do think that we could have possibly duplicated that at a higher weight class.
I mean, that's kind of that's not a conventional thing, right? I mean, what went into it from your thing?
That's
from your.
What exactly is the question?
The decision to become a 147-pound fighter when he was already heavier.
It was easy because when he was in high school, he played football, and because he wasn't basically an All-American in high school playing football, I would never ask him to break his body weight down and not enjoy his high school football career. So I never did that. So we never went into a tournament, you know, losing weight. We just went in where we were and we boxed. And because he was successful beating the top 4 guys in the weight class when he moved there, number 4, 3, 2, and 1, all of those guys, he beat all of them because he was successful in that. We just continued with that. But once he no longer played football and didn't need the body weight anymore, once he no longer was competing in other sports like basketball and track and field and could just focus on boxing, then it became apparent his first title fight was an NABO championship at 154 pounds. He weighed in at 153. And if you look at his box rec from that point on, it's 52, 51, 50, 49, 48, 47. That was the way to go because in professional boxing, there's a day before weigh-in and compete on the fight night, and the guys are gaining weight overnight. So, in our first 154-pound championship, Shawn weighed 153, but on fight night, the guy he was fighting was 175 pounds. And I said, well, we're not going to be able to continue this if we're going to have these kind of weigh-ins the day before, and guys are going to hydrate back up. So it just became something that was a concentrated effort on his part and mine, and he made the decision to follow my lead, which was to change his lifestyle. Not just change a diet, a lifestyle. And it became a lifestyle that allowed him to stay within 12 or 15 pounds of the 147-pound weight, so he doesn't have to struggle to get there. So that was a conscious effort on both our parts.
And you always felt good?
I have. I've never one time felt discouraged, negative, weak, anything like that at all. I always felt strong and my most fit at 147.
You're not going to get a haircut this time, right?
Oh, sir.
Could you tell us who in the welterweight division, top 5 guys in boxing history that you like the most?
In the welterweight division, Sugar Ray Leonard, I like Oscar near the end. Love Shane Jr. or Shane Mosley. Sugar Shane was the best. Even Brother Forrest was a monster. That era is kind of like the era that I know of in terms of.
You just named a bunch of guys that have fought welterweight unification fights.
Yeah.
So how important to you is it to have your name, to win this fight and have your name amongst guys like Leonard?
You know what? I think first off it's important just to win the fight. I think second, it's important to beat Errol Spence, and then after that, the rest comes. You know, you already know that stuff comes with the territory because it comes with winning belts and stuff. So, you know that part. The other stuff matters more. Beat Errol, winning, you know, being able to just be with my family and be proud, and in the moment where we can say we did something that no one else has ever been able to do.
Does beating Errol Spence make you the fighter of the year?
100%. Yeah.
Is that part of the reason why you wanted this fight?
No, sir. It's not to be a fight of the year. It's 100% to be the guy to give him his first loss. To be the guy who stands up to him and really challenges him. And not just challenge him, but beat him. I think Kell Brook challenged him. But he couldn't finish the job. I intend to finish the job.
In that Kell Brook fight, even though he had struggled a little bit early on, he never had to go to a plan B because plan A just kind of wore him down. And any of the footage that you watch Errol Spence